Campbell, is Prince William right to say that royals like Beatrice and Eugenie should not be staying in palaces effectively paid for by the British royal family? I ask Lady C because there is increasing attacks on these two women following the revelation that they are staying for free in these central London apartments, despite having their own private income, despite the fact that actually they could afford to pay market rent, yet actually King Charles is paying out of the duchy. And Richard Eden in the Daily Mail has been totally excoriating in his new column, headlined, "I've always defended Beatrice and Eugenie, but this is the truth about their vast incomes and jet-set lifestyles. I saw it for myself last night, and William's friends tell me he's had enough too." And he writes, Lady C, "B and Huge, as the sisters are known to friends, are certainly not in need. Beatrice, 37, is a well-educated businesswoman who lives an enviable lifestyle. Just last night, in my role as the Daily Mail's diary editor, I saw her partying in Mayfair with pals, including hotel heiress Nikki Hilton, Rothschild, and Princess Diana's niece, Lady Eliza Spencer. I had always been a supporter of Beatrice and Eugenie. Whenever I met them at London parties, they seemed sensible and level-headed. I consistently argued that they should be given more prominent roles in the firm and could become working royals when their cousin Prince William eventually succeeded his father. After all, one of the secrets of Queen Elizabeth's record-breaking success as a monarch was that she was supported by her loyal cousins such as the Duke of Kent and Princess Alexandra, who helped share the burden of public duties. It struck me as unfair. I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos. Beatrice and Eugenie to be tainted by the failings of their parents, the former Duke and Duchess of York. However, the more I read of the 3 million documents in the Jeffrey Epstein files, the more disturbed I was by how much they knew about the late sex offender and how little they did about it. While Queen Elizabeth and King Charles were happy to use the Privy Purse to pay for Beatrice and Eugenie's London homes, their cousin Prince William will not do so. He says that categorically. And he reports, I can disclose that the heir to the throne believes that the current situation is unacceptable. I've been told for years that William believes the monarchy should be slimmed down and such arrangements will end. William loves his cousins. This is one of his friends telling Richard Eden. William loves his cousins, but firmly believes that only working royals should receive the benefits of being members of the royal family. For evidence of how William and Catherine want things to be done differently, look at the way they recently made public how much they paid to live at their new home in Windsor. As part of the couple's short-term 20-year lease, which began in July 2025, they pay £307,000 200 a year for Forest Lodge, and they will reportedly face a rent review every 5 years in line with the Consumer Price Index. Supporters of the monarchy, such as myself, know that if the institution is to survive and prosper, members of the royal family need to be seen to devote themselves to public service. There can be no more feathering the nests of already pampered princesses such as Beatrice and Eugenie. And Lady C, what was so interesting about the timing of the last week is that we had Prince William at the wedding of Peter Phillips and Harriet Spurling, where he was actually pictured for the first time with Beatrice, giving her a peck on the cheek. That was unexpected because he had been reported to not want to be seen in public with them. But at the same time, leaked to the Sunday Times that they would no longer have their accommodation, shall we say, subsidised under any royal reign led by him. So, Lady C, who's right on this, Prince William or King Charles?
I don't think it's a matter of choosing between Prince William and Charles. I think there are several issues here which Richard Eden has not addressed. First of all, he states that Eugenie and Beatrice do no royal duties and never did. That's not true. I have been at things that they have attended in their capacity as the royal guests of honor. But just because they are not officially working royals doesn't mean that they do not do things. I will use two examples. When the Queen was too ill to attend one of the events the at Windsor during her Jubilee year, I was at it, and Beatrice stood in for her. And that's just one of the many things that Beatrice has done that the public don't know about. And clearly, the journalists, such as Richard Eden, either don't know about or are happy to overlook. Eugenie, for years, was also the patron of the Poppy Ball, which I was a fundraiser of it in the 70s and 80s. And a friend of mine has took over as one of the joint heads of it about 10, 15 years ago. And I've been to it very often. And Eugenie stood down from it last year, but she, obviously in anticipation of all the trouble that was going to be looming. But so they have been doing official duties unofficially. Let's put it that way. They've been doing royal duties unofficially. Let's put it that way. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think it's a very unseemly thing, and it seems to be particularly unique to a particular type of person in this country, where they are so ravenously and envious that anybody who's going to benefit in ways that they regard as unseemly, which means because they can't benefit, other people can't as well. I think, the politics of envy. And I'm afraid this whole situation is redolent of it. And none of this is coming out of the taxpayers' pockets. None of this is coming out of your pocket or my pocket or anybody's pocket. What damn business is it of Richard Eden or anybody else what the monarch wants to do with his or her money? I mean, give me a break. And also, what is wrong about wanting to make sure that relations of yours are situated decently in life? If a millionaire doesn't subsidize his children, people say he's a cheapskate. But the royal family should not assist those who are less well off than they are. And another issue is that whether William does anything about it or not, ultimately, it's not going to make any difference whatsoever, because the family will simply go back to what they used to do when Queen Victoria's grandchildren, in their tremendous number, were floating around. The Duke of Kent, for instance, Prince George and Princess Marina, they lived at, I can't remember whether it was 305 Belgrave Square. So they did not live in one of the royal palaces. Princesses Helena Victoria and Mary Louise, they also lived in their own house. So all that's going to happen is that all the royals who instead of being put up in palaces with peppercorn rents or given some sort of subsidy, while they are also, may I point out, as I just said, doing work that for the crown that people don't know about because they're not working royals, in quotes. So what will they do? They'll then have someone else living there, or then the place is going to end up being empty. The whole thing stinks of envy to me, and I just think it's sick, and I think it's totally unsavory. That's my opinion of it. And I see nothing wrong in people helping out relations. Sorry.
So Lady C, do you think that William is being too tough on his cousins then, because it is his team who do keep briefing these usual suspects like Roy Anika in the Sunday Times? So the optics were, Lady C, we saw the picture of William with Beatrice, which had been unexpected because people had said, oh, William doesn't want to be seen with the cousin. So it was this nice moment, but it was like, what you taketh with one hand, you giveth away with the other, because then it was this quite nasty briefing. Do you think William is being unfair, or is he just acknowledging that we are living in this sort of new media where he's going to have to be a little bit tougher, Lady C.
Or maybe just curry favor.
Mm.
Maybe he's just currying favor. But William is William is still relatively young in terms of the ways of this world. But William is very self-protective, and William is a little bit too concerned, as indeed is his father, to be seen to be doing the popular thing. The late Queen wasn't like that. If she thought this is right, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to weather the storm, and I'm going to put up with the criticism, and it will pass. Neither Charles nor William has ever had that attitude. They are a little bit, in my view, because I'm very much like the Queen, as you know, in terms of, if I think it's right and I think it should be done, I will weather the storm.
Yes.
I'm afraid they're not. They are very seasick sailors.
Yeah, and there were so many examples of it with the Queen, the late Queen, but one I think of Lady C just before her death, really, when you look at the context of her reign, was the fact that she chose Andrew to walk her to her seat in front of the world at the memorial service at Westminster Abbey for the late Prince Philip. So you are completely right. She, and sometimes her advisors would pull their hair out because actually she would do what she thought was right, not always what would get her the best coverage in the mainstream media. But I think a lot of royalists are concerned about the fact anyway that the monarchy is becoming so slimmed down and they don't want it to be slimmed down any further. But that's a whole other discussion, Lady C, because I will also ask you about Prince William, who has been far, far more resolute on the issue of his younger brother. And I think we can probably both agree, Lady C, that in this case, there's something about the ruthless streak in Prince William that actually does make a lot of sense, because you have seen this almost campaign, Lady C, and it's by Harry, and it's by Meghan, and it's by the PR operatives out of Montecito. But it's not just them. It's not just them. It's also the mainstream media in the UK, the British establishment, the Labour Party to an extent. We've even had former prime ministers like Boris Johnson trying to get involved, and almost making William feel that it's almost like inevitable. Like you're just going to have to accept that your reign will be ruined unless you take your brother back and you sort of forgive him and you make a public display of this forgiveness. Now, Lady C, I don't know about you, but my sources are all saying absolutely not. William will not be moved. It's a bit like the Margaret Thatcher moment for turning. No matter what pressure the establishment and the mainstream media heap on William, he is unrelenting in terms of his position that he will not welcome Harry back. Is William's ruthless streak in this case actually the right?
Ruthless. It's sensible. William understands that treachery is not an accident. Treachery is a failing of character. And Harry has shown himself to be treacherous and untrustworthy. Doesn't matter what Meghan was offering in return. If Harry had had any decency and gumption, he would not have done some of what he has done. And William is absolutely right and resolute. And so is Catherine, I am told. It's not only William, it's Catherine. And I think that is a very positive thing. And of course, the politicians of all political persuasions are going to get involved. The press need to be involved. They all want to keep the pot boiling and the narrative rolling. So of course they're going to be, pushing and prodding. But William is absolutely right to be resolute. And if he ceases to be, he is going to find out that he's made a big mistake. And I speak from personal experience because as you know, I wrote a book on narcissism, and I suffered at the hands of a narcissistic member of my family. And I have to tell you, every time you drop your guard and you forget the lessons that you learned, it comes back to bite you. So William is absolutely correct there. But so's Catherine. Catherine is made of very steely stuff, you know. She's in many ways even steelier than William. I don't know if you're aware of that. I suspect you are.
And I think what's very interesting too, Lady C, is you're right to say that if you even just let him back in and let that sort of that door open, then the circus never ends. And of course the mainstream media and of course the establishment, they don't want the circus to end, do they? But William understands, and you're right, Catherine also understands that actually they will just take advantage of it. And I think you're totally right to say Catherine is incredibly steely too, even though she does it, I guess, much more behind the scenes with William, because she is also very respectful of the fact that he is that he is royal, that he is the leader. And she, but yes, I think she is very steely in her own way.
She's a good wife,
yes.
And she understands that that her position is entirely due to his position, while Meghan has never understood that. Meghan thought, oh, that's your position, I'm going to marry you, and now I'm going to be number one. And life doesn't work like that. And I mean, that's why William and Catherine go on to have success after success. And the public relate to them because the public can sense the reality of things. While Harry and Meghan, the public have come to see they are empty vessels who make a lot of noise. And that basically Meghan is just a self-promoting hustler, really. And Harry is a meow-whipped weakling who has worshipped at the cult of Meghan. And he used to get the benefit of something that has 4 letters as well and rhymes with cult. I gather not so much now.
Lady C, sort of on a weirdly similar note, I wanted to ask you about this extraordinary correspondence that emerged this week, because you were obviously her biographer, between Princess Diana and Terence Stamp. Very, very interesting communication, Lady C. I always feel a bit weird when, these letters go up for auction. It's a bit like, oh, I shouldn't really be reading this. But anyway, Terence Stamp's estate or family have decided to put them up for auction. And Princess Diana, it emerges, actually confided in Stamp about her use of Prozac, as well as sending him risque cards. The Times reports that the depth of the friendship between the late Princess of Wales and the actor who died last year has emerged in this tranche of correspondence, which is set to be sold at auction. In one letter from October 1991, Diana thanks Stamp for her perfect risotto for lunch, adding that she was touched to the core by your understanding of my job role and what comes with it. She then adds 3 cheers for Prozac, not the American variety, I hasten to add. A month later, she writes to Stamp again, thanking him for lunch, caviar this time, before adding no Prozac withdrawals as yet. But then in December, she shows her cheeky side by sending him a humorous postcard featuring a bare female breast with the caption, "All the breast from London." She also then wrote another letter to him thanking him for champagne at lunch. And then she included this card, which had the caption, "Why did God invent sex?" The answer given inside was so that married people do something at least twice a year. Lady C, she was cheeky, wasn't she? But did you know, that they had this quite, I don't know, what sort of relationship was it? Intimate, type of friendship, or what was going on between Lady Di and
Well, I don't know if you know it, Dan, but I knew Terry somewhat. I first met him in 1973, and in fact, there is an anecdote of me yanking him out of my bedroom to go into the drawing room to meet everybody, because he was hiding between the bed and the dresser, and he was saying, "Oh, nobody wants to meet a has-been," because at the time his career was in the doldrums. And I simply grabbed him by the arm and yanked by the hand, really, and yanked him up and said, "Terry, better to be a has-been than a never was. Everybody wants to meet, come on."
Oh,
and
wonderful.
he then had a second revival of his career. But he had Terry liked certain substances, let's put it that way. and he also, but he rarely had. I can't remember. I think it was over Jean Shrimpton that he actually had a total collapse because Jean Shrimpton left him. I think it's Jean Shrimpton. I mean, we're going back 50 years. I mean, but anyway, it's but so he was very attractive. And he also liked the ladies. And Diana loved men. And Diana could be very provocative, and she had a naughty sense of humor. And as did all of us in those days, I have to tell you. People
It was
weren't
before
prudish the
woke.
way
It
they
was
are
before
now.
political correctness, wasn't it?
Yeah, and people weren't prudish, and people could joke about sex and have a little flirtation, and maybe a 2 or 3 night stand, and then you remain friends thereafter, or friendships with benefits. And Diana was certainly somebody who enjoyed the company of men in all its dimensions. And Terry enjoyed the company of women in all its dimensions. Let's leave it at that and not go any more deeply into it. But, well, I will. I'll say my understanding is that they did occasional pokies. But they were fond of each other. But
Yes.
it was never a love affair, and it
Yeah.
didn't become a love affair. It was just, and in those days, that sort of thing was perfectly acceptable. Friendships with benefits, they used to call them.
Yeah, it was a cute, fun little friendship. And I mean, how incredible, Lady C, that Terence Stamp, he must have been a very loyal guy, because of course, even after Diana's death, as far as I'm aware, I don't know if you know differently, but I never knew that these letters existed.
Of course not. I mean, he was a really decent guy, and I don't think it's any big deal. He's dead, she's dead. Everybody knows that neither of them was exactly, shall we say, monk-like or nun-like. So they had a flingette or two and a friendship, and so the family is releasing the letters. It's well, maybe we now live in such a puritanical age that everybody's going to be horrified. But certainly when I was young, nobody was horrified at this sort of thing. And I mean, she and Terry were good friends. Let's leave it at that.
No, indeed. Indeed. Lady C, oh my God. I am told, Lady C, that in the latest episode of Lady Colin Campbell on YouTube, you talk more about Terence Stamp and that whole issue. So people can, of course, subscribe to your brilliant channel for far more revelations on that and everything actually about the Royal Week. But we always love having you here too, Lady C. Thank you so much for being here today. And of course, if you do want, I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new